Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar. My name's Tony. I'll be walking you through, holding your hand through today's webinar. And what I'll do for now is I'll just wait on for two or three more minutes, let any latecomers join the webinar, and then we will get into things. That being said, if anyone's got any questions they'd like to ask throughout today's webinar, or perhaps instantly, feel free to use the live chat or the Q&A, which should be available within this webinar room. And I'll look to answer those questions as and when they come through. But like I said, let me just wait on for another 30, 45 seconds, and then we'll jump into today's content. Okay, I think we're good to go. So thanks everyone for joining. What I'll do is I'll take us through a very brief PowerPoint, and then we'll jump into a bit of the software and we'll give you a little look around. So we'll take my face for radio off the screen momentarily and do us all a favor, and we'll fly through this webinar, which is all around discovering the CRM that completes your Unleashed workflow. Thanks for joining today's webinar. There is a photo from me from about 2018 would be my guess. I've been here for quite some time, and looking slightly wetter behind the ears, shall we say, and perhaps a little bit chubbier too. But allegedly, I'm a CRM product expert. I have worked with Unleashed customers and provided CRM to north of 1,000 of them myself now. So hopefully, I can take us through a little bit around some of the reasons for that. So the perfect match for Unleashed, how the CRM add-on becomes a natural extension to your workflow. And the CRM is very much built around, and kind of our entire company is built around providing real businesses, real B2B sales growth. And here's kind of a testimonial of that. A company I worked with a couple of years ago now, actually, Good Culture Kombucha. And here is a quotation from their CEO, Dennis Kelleher. Since we started using this CRM in the last 12 months, our sales have doubled. Which might sound like a pretty extreme example, but as you go through the system with myself today, you'll get a pretty instant understanding about how those results are so instantly achievable in the system. How our CRM stacks up against others within the market. So here is a high-level comparison between our CRM for Unleashed versus some other competitors. And, you know, having been in the CRM space myself for almost 8 years now, these CRMs are good platforms. Of course they are there. They are good businesses themselves. But I think the CRM world is very much a case of horses for courses. And assessing the CRM that is used by similar businesses to yourself, rather than just a CRM that is used a lot globally. And we've got Salesforce, Pipedrive, and HubSpot here. And more interestingly, we have a breakdown of their customer bases, who they are selling to. And all of their industries are fairly similar. They're all primarily working with very similar organizations. And those organizations are software companies, other information and tech services, and advertisement firms. And the reason that those CRMs have the lion's share of their customers in those industries is because those are the industries which are the most proactive in buying CRM. So every CRM company essentially focuses there, and understandably so. We're obviously a little bit different. We are completely focused on selling and providing CRM to businesses selling physical products to other businesses, who are therefore very likely to use a platform like Unleashed, of course. And typically our customers would look for some different bits and pieces out of the CRM system. First of all, integration to Unleashed is very, very crucial, and the integration is super tight, as we'll learn today. Secondly, our customers are tending to do an awful lot of repeat business, repeat selling, high frequency of selling. So that's an area of the CRM we'll really look to drive and assist with. Most of these industries aren't really doing any repeat business at all. So none of the CRMs really look at it. And then finally, Unleashed customers, as we know, tend to sell tens, hundreds, sometimes thousands of SKUs. So we'll also really look to identify what customers maybe are not buying and potentially could be, and drive sales from that kind of cross-sell, upsell perspective also. And obviously, we'll look at how the system looks after that today. Here's a various reviews and awards. We do okay for sure. And I guess to kind of summarize the previous comparison slide, every CRM will promise you more customers, as will we. But what we're doing a little bit differently is we also really want to maximize our customer lifetime value. Ensure we get maximum value out of each and every customer in terms of number of sales, value of sales, frequency of sales. And of course, if we're bringing on new customers and doing that at the same time, we should achieve a decent level of sales growth and business growth, which is always the aim to a degree. To break that down a little bit further and be a little bit more granular about selling, more customers is about attract, sell, and close, which most CRMs will look after. Where we are a little bit different, we're also going to look to onboard customers and really make them integral to us and become integral for them. And then maximizing their lifetime value. Logically, it's just about maximizing customer retention, increasing order value as much as we can, and maximizing customer order frequency. And of course, if we're able to do all of those things and kind of churn customers around this flywheel, it's going to be beneficial to our business performance and growth. In terms of breaking down how the system looks after all of those 7 aspects of selling, you've got the 7 aspects of selling down here, I suppose. We break that down into system functionality and what the system can actually do. So if you're looking to improve customer retention, all of these tools and features will really help you with that. If you're looking to increase how often your customers are buying, these tools will be a big win, and kind of so on and so forth. Now, if we piece all of this together, we will really look to help drive growth. And it's very much the responsibility of our onboarding team to kind of get you there. The system comes with an entire onboarding process covering training, system configuration, etc., etc. And we'll really look to drive you into these positions of growth. And to kind of put some data to that statement around growth, it's probably a word I've said a number of times already on this webinar. All the customers that took on Prospect in 2023 saw their revenue increase by 38% on average in 24. Obviously, we'll look to renew those statistics in 26 once 25 is concluded as well. One of the tools that really helps our customers out with the customer retention and making sure our customers keep buying from us is this RFM model, which is an analytical model used in repeat business and repeat selling that came out of Harvard Business School. Actually, we've just brought it to the modern world and the software world. What RFM stands for is recency, frequency, and monetary value. So looking at how recently your customers have bought, how frequently they buy, and the money they spend per order, your customers will be placed into these different segments we see on screen here. Champions, loyals, right the way down to customers who are at risk, you can't lose, or are about to sleep. And naturally, that's where your interest will peak. A lot of businesses, speaking from experience, kind of get to the position of relying on that light bulb moment. They have a good number of customers, they're trying to manage them the best they can, but you kind of have those moments where you go, oh no, I haven't spoke to Joe Blogs in a couple of weeks, I should probably get in touch. Getting that perfect off the top of your head is fairly impossible at a point. So the idea of the system through live integration to Unleashed, it will just give you that information instantly. In terms of how that integration works in a little bit more granular detail, Unleashed will provide currencies, tax and warehouse codes, customers and suppliers, products, pricing and inventory, orders, invoices, and credit limits, and that will all come into your CRM and be live, of course. And then in terms of what the CRM can push back into Unleashed, new customers, new products, new orders, and sales analysis too, which we'll obviously explore in a bit more detail. But let's actually go ahead and take a look at that in action. So we'll jump out of the PowerPoint, thank goodness, and we'll jump into this fictitious system we've got here. And this is a dashboard. It's actually one of 8 dashboards we've got in this system. And this dashboard, for the most part, is very much driven off Unleashed. So we'll look at this in a bit more detail. Now, we can see how much money we brought in this month versus last month. If we just open this up, you will see this is a live feed. And we can see all of that data here for ourselves. These are the customers, and these are the most recent sales orders coming through. We've also exposed delivery and tracking to this particular report, but you can kind of chop and change the fields in which you want to look at. And click submit, and then the report changes. Kind of easy as that. We've got the RFM model here, which we'll explore in a bit more detail in just a moment. We've got our missing orders report, signaling all our customers that should have bought by now. And we've got customers growing in spend and declining in spend too. So if we kind of come back here to the RFM model, we've obviously very recently explained it. So let's look at it in a bit more detail. We've got 5 customers who are at risk. Why are they at risk? As soon as you come into here, you get some pretty powerful, and I would argue, as importantly to that, easy to understand, digestible data points. We can see when somebody's first order was, when their most recent order was, total number of orders they have placed, and also their average order size, which our system is calculating. So in terms of this business's at-risk customers, they've ordered somewhere between 5 times to 43 times. But none of them have ordered since August 25, which I guess is about 4 months ago. One thing I should clarify is that's not necessarily how RFM works. It's not to say if a customer of yours doesn't buy in 4 months, they will be at risk. The system will actually compare your customers to your customers to have its own unique RFM algorithm. So at risk for your business could be 2 months, it could be 6 months. It will be a live comparison between your customers and your customers to give you a good picture of those businesses that are at risk to you. And right away, the account manager is coming through from Unleashed. So Amber should look to get in touch with a couple of these customers here. If we go ahead and look at our champion customers to almost prove the point, they look very different. They've all ordered in the last month or so. They've placed lots of orders, but they probably have very good frequency of orders, the F in RFM, and they look to have a slightly bigger average order size, the M monetary value in RFM too. So recency, frequency, and the value of orders is all being considered when putting your customers into these different segments. For the avoidance of doubt, as soon as you connect your Unleashed system to a trial of the CRM software, this is all instantly live. The data does not need to build up over time. The CRM will just import all of the history as it sits in your Unleashed platform. In terms of missing orders, these are our customers who should have ordered by now. Why should they have ordered by now? I hear you ask. Because our system will look at everyone that's placed at least 4 orders with you and then calculate their average days between orders. So if we look at Joe Public, they were buying from us every 29 days on average. Really strange for them not to buy in 47 days. Did now not bought in 224. That is obviously a very extreme case. If this was a legitimate business, you'd certainly look to catch Joe Public somewhere between day 30 and 50. This is not a legit business, so someone's let it get to an extreme scenario of 224 days. If we jump into this account, whenever a customer should have ordered by now, you'll always be given this message along the top. So if we click on the details here, we'll arrive at their sales analysis screen. And keeping to the theme that they should have bought by now, we'll look at all of their orders, which is on the right-hand side here, as you can see. So they ordered in April. They actually ordered twice on March 26th, which is why there's two bars stacked on top of one another. They also ordered in February and in January, which looks to be when we acquired that customer. So they placed 5 orders in total between January 29th and April 28th. You can understand why their buying trend was every month or so. They've not ordered since. So we don't need to be Carol Vorderman per se to figure out, they should have ordered by now. This is their monthly spend, just so you can understand what we can see. And then this is also what their top products are by value. So of course, all of your products will come through from Unleashed, and you can see where people are spending their money by the SKU. With regards to what people are buying and not buying, we'll also bring through all of your product categories from Unleashed, and then use this magic matrix to tell you where people are at with a certain type of product. So these are our different product categories, as we can see. This customer has bought finished jam and jam accessories, whatever they may be. They've not bought any of these products, and they're aware of jam jars but have not bought it. Maybe we had a conversation with them and made them aware of equipment manually. You can do that. And we could remove it again. And this is, of course, the magic matrix for Joe Public. For a product category to be in the opportunity section, we can create quotes and sales opportunities in the CRM naturally, as you would expect. And if we're currently working on a sale with Joe Public in relation to some multi-packs, then the multi-packs would be in the opportunity section. And obviously the whole fact that they've bought or not bought something is automated by default. Now, this is the magic matrix for Joe Public. You could also look at the magic matrix across your entire business, and you can see the different categories along the top and your customers down the left-hand side to signal what is going on here. So if we click on the green dot, we can see that this is the product they bought in this category most recently, and there would be numerous lines if they bought numerous products more recently. If I can find an example, here you go. So the green is obviously automated. And for the awareness, we discussed maybe speaking to somebody about a type of product and manually marking them to be aware. But you can also send out campaigns to customers too. And if they've received campaigns on that product, that can also signal awareness, and you'd see the campaign in here. If I dive into that campaign, I can see the open rates, the clicks across my entire customer base too. So that's obviously looking to drive cross-sell, upsell, and sell as many product categories to our customers that we can. Now, of course, the CRM can do all of the slightly more traditional or expected CRM bits and pieces. We can, jump into a contact. James Egan's the guy that works at the Access Group. I can see all of the previous notes and tasks and email communication that myself and plenty of other colleagues have got up to. I could set a task for myself or for a colleague here. Likewise, I can email from the system, and we've got a two-way integration with Outlook and Gmail. For now, I'm going to send the email from the CRM, and it's grab James's name, his company name. I can ask AI to just write me an email if I want to. But of course, you can send emails from the CRM, and it'll save in, it'll go into your Outlook, your Gmail, whatever you use, and do all of the things that you'd very much expect and anticipate any CRM candidly to do for you. One other thing that I think is perhaps worth touching on is the ability to create a quote or a sales order. We could create a sales order and stick it straight into Unleashed from here. Similarly, we can create a quote. And quote from here too. And our quoting engine is fairly powerful. So I'll definitely give you all a glimpse into this, and maybe for a little bit more context, because we can quote and sell through here, what does happen in 95% of instances when a business decides to take on our Unleashed integrated CRM is they'll actually remove most of, if not all of their salespeople from Unleashed and put them in here, because You've got far more analysis. You can track your communication between you and colleagues and customers, potential customers too. Um, and because you can sell in here and you've got all of those benefits, you may as well do so. So quite often your unleashed costs might offset slightly as you adopt an integrated CRM program. But for now, let's go ahead and create a fresh quote. We'll call this a December stock order, mainly because I lack imagination. And we'll begin to build this order together. Now, in terms of building this quote slash order, what will come up first is that customer's top 5 products, their 5 favorite products in terms of what they order most often. You can, of course, see the selling price of items and also the cost price of items here too. So we'll go for some of that chili jam. We've also got a couple more screens whereby we could add products. So I could look at the popular screen, which is going to be all of that customer's favorite items top to bottom. So I could say you need 5 of those, 3 of these, 2 of these, no problem at all. Add all of that to the order and it's all done. We could also look at recent purchases, which will, of course, show us that customer's recent order, including the order date and the recent price that they paid. Particularly useful for those scenarios of someone wanting to know what they got last time. You could just tell them and mimic the order from here. And finally, you have the search products where you can, search for products as you might assume. Once you've built a bit of an order, if this was just a sales order that you needed to push into Unleashed, you could push it into Unleashed by pressing confirm, and the order will go in against their account. If they're a potential customer, you can also create their account in Unleashed and process through their first ever order all in one go, as you can see here. And that's a sales order, really. It's as simple as that. But if you need to send a quote, you can select Tony's email on the right-hand side. You can select your quote template and hit send. The quote's already there as a PDF. You don't need to do anything with it. You can just press send and crack on. I will download this quote document, however, just to give you all an idea of some of the things we can do with it. In real time, though, you would just be pressing send and moving on in your day. So I've downloaded my quote document for the sake of this webinar. And here it is. Now, one of the cool things that you can do with our quotes, we'll get to in a second. But first and foremost, in terms of the onboarding process that comes with the CRM system, we will train all of the team, configure the system with any kind of custom reports, bits and pieces you'd be after. And we'll also take care of your entire quote engine. One part of the quote engine is taking your quote document and putting it in our system. So the design, template, look, feel is all taken care of. So obviously using merge fields to grab bits and pieces from the system, like some customer details, as well as the order details. And one of the cool things within our quote engine is the customer does have the ability to just approve an order themselves. And they can plug in a PO number and approve it. Your company logo will appear up here. This all becomes on brand, and the customer can just input a PO and hit approve. If that was to happen, everyone's notified via email that you wish to be notified, such as the salesperson, the customer, your sales inbox, your accounts inbox. And that email will say, "Hi, Tony, James at the Access Group just confirmed order 2260, and we've pushed it through to Unleashed for you." That would be automated from there. And one of the second cool things that our quote engine can do, you may have noticed up here if you're eagle-eyed, this quote is configured to have automated quote chasing. So someone set up a rule in this system whereby if someone doesn't approve or decline the quote within 5 regular days or 5 working days, perhaps, the system will automatically chase them with another email. So it will do some of the dog work for you, for want of a better phrase. So just a couple more PowerPoint slides from myself that I'll quickly run you all through before kind of concluding today's webinar. Now, one little bit of context I would insist on providing is I have, of course, not covered the entire CRM in 23 minutes. As impressive as that would be, but rather I've just given you a high level intro. So in terms of finding out more, you can take a free trial of the software straight from within Unleashed. There's a CRM module on the left-hand side, and you can take out a free trial. If you do that, your Unleashed data will import immediately, and you'll begin to see all of the kind of analysis and analytics I've touched on today in relation to your data, which is always a lot more exciting, as I'm sure you can imagine. You can fill out a growth playbook scorecard and assess performance, and that will kind of cater the CRM's functionality towards what you're looking to drive, grow, improve within your own business. And everyone that does take out one of those free trials before December 16th, which is a week today, will get the first 3 months half price should they decide to proceed with it. But rest assured, if you do go ahead and take out a trial, you've not committed to anything. You're just trialing the software. And like I said before, if anyone wants to use the Q&A, feel free to do so, and I will answer some questions up here. So if I jump into Q&A, doesn't look like anything's been asked just yet, but do please feel free to use the Q&A box, and I'll happily spend the next 2 minutes waiting on any questions coming through, and I can answer whatever you please. I do believe that's all the questions for today. So let me jump off, and thanks again everybody for joining us.